and it's designed to just take some of the mystery out of ORCID ID and describe why it's a good idea and perhaps something that is worth your investment of time to create in the first instance, even in the very early stages of your research career. So my name is Dr. Lisa Bunn. I'm an Associate Professor of Neurological Rehabilitation. I work at the University of Plymouth, but I'm also the overall chair for the Southwest Peninsula Insight Programme. And I'm here today accompanied by one of our co-leads, Matt Carey. Matt, do you want to have a quick hello? Putting on the spot.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, I recognise lots of faces and great to see you all. So my name's Matt, and I'm an Associate Professor in Children's Nursing here at the University of Plymouth. So sort of representing the School of Nursing and Midwifery, and I work alongside Lisa as part of that Insight programme and also co-lead on the Health and Care Internship programme. So great to see lots of familiar faces across those programmes. So hopefully this will be a useful session for you, and yeah, happy to monitor the chat if there's any queries and bits.
Yeah. Well said, Matt. And yes, a big shout out for the Health and Care Professions Internship Programme as well. So we're really trying to bring two communities together here. So it's an equal host, really. And we've also got two very valuable additions to the webinar today, Aisha and Matt. Aisha, could you unmute and just say a quick hello?
Hi, very kind of you, Lisa. I've just finished the Insight programme in the Clinical Research Masters, and I am a newly qualified mental health nurse also. So yeah.
Thanks, Aisha. Great to have you here. And Matt.
Hello, my name is Matt. I'm a newly qualified dual registered mental health and adult nurse, and I'm in my second module of the Masters in Clinical Research funded by the Insight programme.
Brilliant, thanks so much. So Aisha and Matt are going to be our guinea pigs today to create an ORCID ID for themselves live, just so that it takes a little bit of mystery of the background process out. So without further ado, first of all, I'm just going to do some signposting to some interesting web pages, which are available for you to take a read of later. Let's minimize that one. Oops. Okay, so the first one is explaining directly from the ORCID ID website what it is and how to use it. So it stands for Open Researcher and Contributor ID. So that's predominantly because not only does it want to attract people who identify as researchers, but also those individuals who are more project focused. So if, for example, you're here today and you're at the very early stages of your career, but you perhaps have engaged in other activities like audits, quality improvement projects, service evaluations, or other initiatives that you feel proud of, that are project-based and you feel might be an opportunity to bring together and start building an online profile, almost a bit like an online CV, but with some exception, then this is the type of activity that you can collate. This is an organisation where the data is held ultimately in the United States. Wherever you upload data to on the World Wide Web, there is always a base, and you typically find when you're in the UK, you have the choice of either that server being based in the United States or Europe. In this case, it's the United States, and there isn't any choice in that matter. Just of note, if you do publish on something called the Open Science Framework, which I've just got up in a tab here, here's one I prepared earlier almost, you actually get to choose the server in which you place any open data on within that system. OSF is just here for a bit of a reference. We're not going to focus in on OSF today, but it can be useful for publishing documents and larger bodies of information, whereas ORCID ID is more like just bullet pointing. You can provide onward links to web pages, to online documentation, etc., but you don't get the opportunity to upload whole documents in order to evidence your output, etc. So who can have an ORCID ID? Well, pretty much anybody really who feel that it may be of use to them. It benefits you because it provides an online repository that is free of charge, that can mobilise with you, regardless of where you work, regardless of which institution you're based in. You can mobilise it across different email addresses and online accounts. It moves with you, but you have one persistent identifier, and this is your ORCID number. And you'll find that if you do make applications to funders such as the NIHR, the MRC, etc., they will ask you for your ORCID ID, and it will be a way that they can very quickly and reliably ascertain your track record, history, experience, etc. It can really help you to reduce errors when filling out forms. So I don't know about you guys, but if you ever need to upload a work history, sometimes the grey cells malfunction a little bit, and I tend to produce some errors in terms of accuracy of date, etc. Whereas if you've just got it there, you can choose whether you make it publicly visible to trusted in organisations or to just you privately, and you can make reference to that later. It's also particularly helpful if you have a name which frequently is cited in the evidence base. So believe it or not, there are more than one Lisa Bunn out there, and I have on occasion been mistaken in terms of what is my output versus what is other people's. Now, that's not too onerous because there aren't many Lisa Bunns, but if I was to have a more commonly encountered surname, for example, this ORCID ID and unique persistent identifier would be incredibly helpful to differentiate me to others. So, as mentioned, you can control the visibility settings of what you upload and what you complete. And you can also change the email addresses that you wish to be affiliated with a record. So just also of note, we're going to just walk you through a couple of steps to take as you're creating an ORCID ID today, but there are some excellent videos which will remind you how to do various steps of the process as well. I'll put this link into the chat in just a second. So without any further ado, I'd like to bring Aisha into the floor, and we are together now going to share her screen and begin to create an ORCID ID together. Hi, Aisha.
Yeah. Hi, sorry, my laptop has decided to stop charging, but I think I should be okay for an hour or so.
Okay, that's good timing.
The charger decided not to work anymore. Yeah, so I'm just going to share my screen.
Fantastic. Whilst you're doing that, I'll just pop some links into the chat for everybody to access in their own time later.
Can you see that? It should be on Google.
A Google page, yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
All right, cool.
Brilliant.
So I'm just going to go on to ORCID.
Perfect. So Aisha's already intuitively looking to find ORCID ID, and she's absolutely first time, first hit, found the correct place.
Smashing it. Yeah, so I've just gone on to the sign in register. I don't have an account, so I am going to register now. Given names, my name is Aisha. For confidentiality reasons, I have been advised to use my uni email address, which I'm going to change to my personal one at a later date.
Brilliant. And then you just want to go back and pop your family name, which
is that your surname, right? Oh gosh.
Yeah. No.
Oh, it doesn't let you. Student. ACK, and then capital. Cool. And then I will do an additional email later. Next step. Brilliant. I will not read out my password.
No. We did try this earlier to make sure that it wouldn't be visible.
University of Plymouth.
Great.
School of Nursing? School of Health Professions now?
Yeah, either one's fine.
and students.
I would just probably leave that out.
Oh, yeah,
It's an optional entry. Yeah, fantastic.
Next up.
Great. So here is going to create what your default setting is. So this is where you probably want to just decide first and foremost, okay, am I doing this predominantly as an aid for myself? Or is this something that I want to use as a publicly facing database? And today, I think what we're encouraging you to consider is the public facing option. By selecting everyone, this allows future funders to look at this profile, and it allows you to link it directly to funding applications. I have heard of one recent story from somebody in a very senior role within the NIHR who has received a very good quality application for a personal award, which linked to their ORCID ID, but unfortunately they didn't have it set to visible, which meant essentially they submitted an application that didn't have a CV attached to it. So I would recommend that you by default choose everyone, but be mindful that you can alter this setting within the ORCID ID itself.
Okay, next step. I would like to receive ORCID tips and features, consent to that, and I'm not a robot. Complete registration.
Great, and that
okay,
is
so it doesn't actually send me like any, the verification thing.
It will, yes. So I think the verification step kind of takes place offline, and it will send you an email to make sure that you are the person that you're claiming to be with regards to your email account. And once you verify it within that email process, it will just update and refresh the page, and you will be formally registered. So you may just want to do a page refresh just after having verified it with the email.
I'm just gonna I've just got my emails on my phone, so I'm gonna do it that way.
Fantastic.
Students. Oh gosh. AC UK.
I don't know whether anybody's following along. If you are, let us know how you're getting on, and if you need any more information.
UK. One. Fingers crossed. Oh, beautiful. Okay. I've just verified it on my phone, so I'm just gonna reload it now.
Fantastic.
Stunning. So just gonna like minimize that. So my name's visible. My biography's there. So I'm gonna click edit and then add my biography.
Here's one we've prepared earlier, right, Aisha?
Yeah.
So we were just a bit worried about timing for this session. So Aisha's actually prepared something offline. So right at the top of the page, as you can see, she now has an ID number. That is going to be a persistent number now for the rest of your career. And it allows you to connect this ID number with your name. You've got a little web domain there, https://orcid.org, and then your number. So this is your page now to build as you wish. And so the first option at the very top of the page is to provide a biography. So this is something that will tell people visiting your page a little bit about you. So it can be whatever you wish to share.
Yeah, so I did a pre-biography thing. It's a bit long, but I'm just going to say the changes and it's going to be visible to everyone else.
Fantastic. And then as fast as that, you've got an update in your page.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a little bit about your professional background.
Yeah.
We've got a bit of your personal interest, which is great. We've talked about a key part of your training, i.e. Masters of Clinical Research, the date. And you've also mentioned some of the successful element of your output related to that already.
Yeah.
So this is a really beautiful biography. It's concise, it's not too lengthy. It cuts to the main points about what perhaps a future research funder or potential collaborator might want to read about you, Aisha, and it just introduces the rest of the page really nicely.
Thank you.
So you can see just over on the left-hand side there, at the moment, we can see that you verified your email, and the red little I is inferring that your email address is not going to be visible to people visiting this page publicly. So if you click on that, and I'm not suggesting that you may, yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
What you can do, and you don't need to do this, Aisha, but if you did want to, you can potentially change that to make it more publicly visible by changing the red I to a green one.
And also
Lovely.
the add another email address would be where I'd add my personal one.
Exactly. So, and again, you can choose whether that's private or public. We've asked you not to do that today because we're recording the session and we just don't want to share your personal email information more widely with the community.
Yeah.
At least not force you to do that. So we're not going to add that today, but that is the option to put that in there at a later point in time.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. So I think, yeah, we were going to just go for a couple more parts of the form together and then hand over to Matt to come in with some extra information about his sections.
Yeah.
So you'll find that employment actually already updates. So when you register and it asks you what your employment is presently, it automatically creates a domain. And you can see that you've got a green I there, which means that because your default is to make everything publicly visible, it will be visible to everybody. But you can change that. There we go. I don't know why, but the descriptors, when you click on the eye, there's like a traffic light like code with the eye, but when you click on them you have different icons. But just to say, if you were, for example, to change it to trusted parties, I think your eye would go orange. That's it.
Yeah. And then
red.
me goes red. Yeah,
exactly.
So if I do everyone,
so that's lovely. You've got a bit of a traffic light signaling going on there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I think we were going to go down just one more domain to education and qualifications.
Education. Yeah, and then I will add education. Yeah. So for me, it would be university. Beautiful.
Perfect. And we're on there, so we can select it. I've just tried it earlier, and if you're not on there, you can just manually add things in, but it looks like that's part of the database, so that's good. That's skipped a step for you. And then the key thing with these pop-outs is just to keep going down. So there you'll find that there's the option to put in your actual award title, which is really important. That's definitely something you want to have on your CV.
So if I do BSc mental health nursing, just because I know the proper end date for it, and then I can put in the master's one at a later date. So if I put in 2020, in July, September, and then I think it was the 21 end date for me was, where is it? Why is it?
It does start,
oh, okay, I have to go down.
I don't know why, but it's projecting end dates to 2036, which is slightly scary for me. But there we go.
And then the day was I'm just gonna go put the first. It's fine. I don't have a link to a profile page.
So
is this where you could potentially put in LinkedIn?
Absolutely. So actually there's another place on this database to add your LinkedIn connection. But here what you might want to do is put a link to your program page so that it tells the reader a little bit more about what the program is about and therefore what your training is about. So that may not be necessarily a personal link, but it could be a link to information about what you're describing. Yeah. Fantastic.
Brilliant.
And then, of course, visibility always ends with your choice of visibility to just make sure that you have the option to change it from your default.
Yeah.
But I think we're
Save
about there.
changes. And then
Fantastic.
I'll put in the master's one at a later date once I get the end date for that.
Yeah, fantastic.
Victor's put his hand up.
Yes, absolutely. Victor, come on in.
Hi, Lisa. Hi,
Hi.
everyone. So, not to derail our conversation, I was just wondering what the essence of the middle name was. You mentioned something about the uniqueness of your own name. I was just thinking, for someone like me who has such a long middle name, do you think it's important to include my name or to leave it out, just to make it easier for other people trying to search up my profile?
Well, this is the beauty of ORCID, because it doesn't matter is the answer. You can choose to put it in or leave it out, but it's a good question because I've got a middle name as well. It's nowhere near as long as yours. It's just May, 3 letters. And in some publications I've used it. I tend not to because I feel like it's a slightly more personal thing, at least in UK culture. Sometimes I've used M to denote that I have a middle name. And sometimes I've even published without specifying my full first name, and it's been LM Bun or L Bun. But regardless of all of those iterations, this unique identifier will stay the same. So all of those different papers will be linked, and your name will therefore be linked, and all the different versions of it by this one code. And that's one of the really important reasons for having an ORCID ID, that if somebody puts in an author search in, for example, Google Scholar or Scopus, because these interact with ORCID, they will be able to find all of the different versions of your name instead of just the one identical expression.
All right, cool. Thank you very much.
So the answer is it's your choice as to what you put on this profile. Yeah.
There's the also known as section as well.
Yes.
Sort of the names you may be known by.
That's right. So that's really helpful because sometimes if you've published in a maiden name, or you were married and you changed your name, for example, you may have two completely almost different names, and this allows you to connect the dots and bring those two different versions of your identity together. Yeah, and again, it's up to you whether you make that publicly visible or just connect it within the system. Okay.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to click off names now and go down to professional activities.
Yes. Now, were we going to skip?
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just thinking, Matt, are we going on from funding, or are we coming in with you with professional activities? I can't quite remember, I'm afraid.
I think we'd listed professional activities, but as you wish, really. I'm ready to share if you want me to.
Great. Well, let's do one for Aisha and then let's hop across to you. So Aisha, I think you've got a poster to put in there. Is that correct?
Yes. So if I click
lovely.
on add and then I want to say, what would I do it on? Under?
So we've got a few different options here. So because you want to post a prize, you could add this as a bit of a marker of distinction. So distinction means what makes you stand out from others. So prizes, commendations, anything that has been awarded to you, with the exception of funding, because that's in a separate section.
Yeah.
You could list under this section.
Okay. Because it was an NIHR poster conference, would the organization be NIHR?
Yeah, so I think it would be NIHR Insight Southwest Peninsula. I know that's a bit long. And it
Hopefully
probably
it shows up.
Yeah, and this will be an example, I think, of not having been entered.
No.
Perfect.
Oh, actually, and no, that's pen.
So I would just leave it, just click off. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it should just keep it there. Brilliant. So if it's not already been entered into the database, don't worry, you can enter a new unique entry. That's it. I discovered earlier that if you just put a U in, you can skip to the right place. Perfect.
Department, I'm going to say
Yeah.
department.
Hmm.
Cool, I don't know if the poster would come under distinction now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it looks to me as though it probably would be a repeat of the NIHR Southwest Peninsula. We were quite specific with the above organisation. So I think let's just repeat it there.
NIHR Insight Southwest. Is that what I wrote there? Insight Southwest Peninsula.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then July. And then I just write poster presentation.
So this was a conference poster award.
Conference.
Yeah.
Poster award.
Yes, and this is where you can attest my knowledge of the date. I think it was the 1st of April.
I think it might have been, but it doesn't have the red star, so I'm not too fussed on it right now.
Yeah, good point.
Was that this year or last?
It
I can't remember.
was
this year,
but last academic year, so 2005.
Yeah. Did you say April or May?
Yeah, that's right, April 04.
Yeah. And then April Fools.
Perfect. And we might have a conference webpage, so we could potentially return to that later. But for now, I think
do that later. And then it's visible to everyone. And then I will save my changes and stop my share.
So that's just acted to demonstrate that you can add things manually. The type of information that you're going to need to be able to add it, and also that you can return to it and edit it later if you need to, but that there's no real mechanism to upload any supporting evidence other than linking to a web page. So that's really showcases what this is all about. So if we can hand over to Matt now, he's going to just show, give an insight to some of the later parts of the form.
So I've kind of caught up here. I have my own code and biography.
Brilliant.
Apologies if there's any background noise here, by the way. I'm still in.
You're absolutely fine.
And we are at professional activity. So I have a few that I could add here, 2 of which are memberships and 1 is an invite.
Perfect. Let's go for one of the memberships first. Yeah, let's do a membership and then we'll do an invite. And maybe you can return later to do the other.
So it's NHS England, but Southwest. Should I add that or leave it as the linked one?
You might get away with leaving it and then adding it in a subcategory, I think. Let's just have a look down the form. So you will have to put the city.
That gets filled in by itself. So department.
Yes, so that would be Southwest.
So that'd be the Chief Nursing Officer's Health and Wellbeing Nurse Reference Group, which is a bit of a mouthful.
Brilliant.
And should I just put member here?
Yeah, that's fine. And I think we're going to have to go back because just above there's some mandatory domains denoted by the star. So we are going to have to put, we've got London. Oh, you've got it. It's all
that's because we did, auto-filled because it was NHS England, it looks like.
Superb,
So I would guess that was 2022 until it unfortunately has finished this year, but did lots of good work.
Well done.
Do I have a link? I could find a link later and add to the page.
And then perfect. So that's publicly available. And you can just see there that it's you that has manually added it as a source. That's just interesting because sometimes you can link ORCID into other domains and you get to see that other people have updated to your profile, which is quite interesting. I can show you that in a second from my own profile. Lovely. So that's a membership. Let's take a look at an award.
Trying to think of an invited. Yeah, no problem. So that is NHS England again, Southwest, but maybe I'll put the organisation in like that.
Yeah.
So it pre-fills.
Perfect.
And this was the Department Quality for Multi-Professional Education and Training.
Brilliant.
in role title, I mean, I was invited to be part of a short life working group for developing guidelines. So should I write that in there?
I think
briefly?
Personally, be as specific as you can, but concise with it. Yes. Yeah. Just bear in mind.
I'm copying and pasting because I anticipated this might happen. I didn't want to slow things down.
Well done.
Yeah, to develop guidelines. So it's still going. So I don't put an end date, I suppose. And there's no link for that state of changes.
Brilliant. And let's imagine you've made a mistake with that entry, Matt. If you want to just go to the little pencil symbol, you'll find that you can just pop straight back in and make changes. You haven't, so don't worry. We'll just cancel that, but it just is very easy and very intuitive to do so. Watch out for the little symbols that look like rubbish bins. They will delete the whole entry, so please do not inadvertently hit those. You do get a warning, but we're not going to delete it. Fantastic. And then if you keep scrolling down, we've got some funding here. So let's have a go at uploading your funding for your NIHR Insight Southwest Peninsula Award. So here you've got two options. I think you're going to have to add it manually. We might be lucky. We might find that you could search for it, but I think it's perhaps going to require a manual entry. So here you've got to decide, is it a grant or is it an award? In actual fact, on this occasion, it constitutes an award. You've made an application for something, an entity which was already fixed in terms of funding, etc. So that's the category we would pick. Anything that you apply for personally tends to be called an award. Anything that has the focus actually on the project or the research that's been undertaken tends to be called a grant or project grant, in fact. So yes, it doesn't really matter if you get it slightly wrong. It's all in the nuance, and it's all about learning a kind of research language, and you can change it later if you need to. But they just, by getting it right, it just gives you a good template to follow in the rest of the form. Okay, so if we just scroll down. Okay, so with the programme, I have to be quite strict here and ask you to put NIHR Insight Southwest Peninsula, but you can either put it there or you can put it in the project link. That's not a problem at all. And then there is a position for the link, so we'll make sure that we connect to the project programme webpage later. And in terms of the studentship, what I would say is be mindful of all of the funding that you've received. So that's the total amount of both your stipend plus course fees. So that brings it up to approximately £23,000, I think. So it would be GDP. Or just GBP, sorry, not GDP, gross domestic product, Great British Pounds. So if you just put G, and it should just jump you to the G's. That's it. I found this out earlier. You don't want to keep going with B and P, otherwise it goes to B and then it goes to P. So just the first letter. So about 23,000. Oh, sorry, 33,000 is in it. I'm not constituting the course fees. Sorry about that. Brilliant. Great. And then the agency name, NIHR. Yeah. I think we may have to just leave it. Yeah, that's it. And it's Leeds in the UK, yeah. Brilliant. Now the funding identifier, it will ask you to identify that, and actually I have the identifier here as the project lead. And so what this does, it kind of validates your receipt of funding. Different funding opportunities will have different codes connected with them. Just to skip to my entry here and cross-reference it, I can tell you that your identifier is 304064.
Perfect, thank you. I guess I can add the link and any other bits later.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Aisha, come on in.
Hi, I was just wondering, does everyone have a different identifier then, or is it the same identifier for the same grant?
Exactly, the same grant has the same identifier, so that's something that's a code that you would use as well, and we'll circulate that to make sure.
Yeah, I'm just noting it down. Also, just out of curiosity, is the NIHR based up in Leeds then, hence why we have to write Leeds?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where their headquarters are based. So if in doubt, just Google search them and you should be able to find the location.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to check if I can just find that code and number again. So just so that it links to the meeting notes here. So as I should say, in case any other students from different areas of the UK have been awarded and they're looking at this recording, different areas that have been awarded have different unique identifiers. So NIHR 304064 is only the code for those persons awarded within the Southwest Peninsula. You'll have to contact your project team for the identifier in other areas. Okay, so just going down, we're a little bit over time, so I think we should probably be looking at wrapping up. But there's this extra section called Works. Now, if we click on the Add option, and we'll go to the Manual option again. So you could go straight for a DOI if you've published something and it comes with its own DOI, and that's just a faster way of getting your entry completed. But this is quite a nice one if we go to the manual one, because it tells us a little bit about what different things are expected as uploadable works. That's it. So Matt's on it already. So I
like that it has artistic performance output. Maybe I could put my musical contributions as a drummer from bands on here. Not very research valid, but
well, actually, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? Because it might form part of your hobbies, but quite often our hobbies and professional worlds converge. And if, for example, you're applying for some funding which wants to showcase your ability to produce more creative components related to dissemination, or perhaps even you're using art within workshops in a qualitative package, you might want to showcase some of the works that you've done before that perhaps are more hobby-based but would directly really support that application. So try and see this database as through the lens of future funders as well as yourself. So it's lovely to document for your own records. It's from the NIHR's perspective, they really want each and every awardee to have an ORCID ID, because what it will enable them to do is track the progress of each applicant or awardee and see the impact of what this personal award has produced over time. So that's really, really positive from an evaluation perspective of these schemes, especially when public funds are being invested to be able to evaluate effectively. But funders are also going to be looking at this record. So they're going to be looking at your interests, your background, your track record, your publication history, etc. So it's also important to be mindful of that as a potential use of this.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I have a couple of book chapters that I co-authored, so I could start putting in the details for that.
Lovely. So you can see there's a whole range of things out there. We all jump to thinking about articles in journals, but actually there's a whole range of different research-related activity. So Matt has correctly identified that a book chapter is worth inclusion. This is a form of output. It may not be involving primary research data, but it is all about dissemination. And this is definitely something that's going to be a significant contribution to his ORCID ID. Fantastic. So he's putting in the key information. Sometimes there might be a subtitle, sometimes not. We've got a book title and a chapter title. Got a publication date, which should be on the inside of the title pages.
Yeah, I thought I'd found the link. I could go and get it, but it might waste time. But the link is available. I can add it later, I suppose.
Brilliant. So books, generally speaking, it's a bit harder to find links than it is manuscripts, because manuscripts are very typically published online now. But you could just link to a publisher's email website in order to just provide some onward signposting to this source. Lovely. And then just as you scroll down, you'll have some additional fields which you might be able to come on to here. So sometimes works produced a citation. You don't have to put this in. It's there as an option. Generally speaking, you'll find that you can export a citation and then you get an option of what style to export it in. So this is just specifying which style it's in if you do choose to add it. And identifiers here, you might want to put in a DOI, but you may not. Okay, so ISBN would be more appropriate for books, DOI more appropriate for articles, and the PMID, I think, is another optional kind of document related identifier. Fantastic. And then you can talk about what your particular contribution to this works was. And any other contributors. I think you might have to come back to that a little bit later. Absolutely, you can put in whatever roles that you were part of. And then finally, your disability. Fantastic.
There's a second chapter to add, but I'll do that another time to save your time.
Yeah, lovely. So we have got a little tight for time. You can just see, just before we exit from this part of the form, and when you do start getting a number of works, and if I just bump Matt off the screen just for a second, I can show you what I mean by this in using my own profile. So here we go, we've got scrolling down the form, funding. Yes, so here works. I've got 102. So at this point, it all gets a bit blurry and a bit messy. So a recent development has been within ORCID to actually self-identify some featured works. So here you just go down, you find a keyword. It might not work because I've just saturated my number. So you can have up to 5. Yes, it has. So there we go. I can find, oh, actually, I'd like my NICE guideline to be one of my published featured works. And then you just select it, say make featured. This one's already got a star, so it has already been featured, and save changes. And then it just pops up in that section there. And then just a final note before we close this section of today's online call, you can see that over here there is also the option to link to other web pages. So I've got my LinkedIn profile here, an academic web page here, and another profile page here. Actually, there's some updates. I also quite often use the Open Science Framework. It is linked to different parts of my profile page under different works, but I may choose to bring that in here. And you can see also that I've got a link to my Scopus author ID. What is that, you may ask? So there's 2 other things that I just want to give a quick shout out for. It's beyond the scope of today's call to really cover them in detail, but Scopus ID is something that is a little bit like ORCID, but it's created by Elsevier, and it links together all of your works within their publishing series. So it's really helpful. It acts a little bit like ORCID ID, but it is more closed. So the 2 can link together, which means that any changes to ORCID will also be reflected in Scopus and vice versa, which is great. And then finally, you'll find that these 2 systems will also be picked up by Google. So when you're doing your kind of like quick and messy background searches for a key reading in a particular field, you'll find that you can actually click on authors. Here's my page, and then within that you'll find that there's lots of stats and entries about the works that all of their work is linked to. as well as some statistics, which is particularly helpful. So the key message is, oh, I've just lost my page because I've got a bar over it, but try and develop your profile, bring in as many links as you possibly can, and by doing so, you'll connect all of the dots in the digital world. Okay, so I hope that hasn't been too long for everybody. I do want to protect some time now for you to just, we'll turn the recording off and to sort of network and come together as a community. Before we do that, are there any questions about ORCID? Oh, thank you. Oisin, come on in.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Can you hear me?
I can. Hi.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So by way of introduction, my name is Roisin McKeown-Carter. I'm a neonatal nurse consultant by trade, but I'm currently the consultant practice development lead for University Hospitals Plymouth.
Amazing.
I lead a group we're an increasing group. We have 32 consultant practitioners now. And in their portfolio, they must do research. Yeah. But I've been a nurse consultant for a long time, but I know they haven't put the input into their ORCID profiles. I know that. So this has been really, really useful for me. Now, there's no way I'll be able to sort of teach that to them. My ask is, we meet monthly, we have a forum. Would anybody be able to do that for us, for the group?
I think that we can make that happen. I don't know.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
We've got a ton of... Great. Will I email you?
Yeah, please do. And also we can share this recording. And what I'd like to see happening is for this to be a regular monthly meetup online. So we're hoping to roll into a bit of a community discussion now. So if anybody from your group are interested, it'd be great to bring them into this network and to have, I'm envisaging that we might end up, we've got quite low numbers today, but we might end up with a few different breakout rooms. So if you're at consultant level practice, perhaps you could just join a little subgroup. I'm thinking maybe we might have a sort of 10-15 minute conversation as a whole community, and then just kind of break out into little subgroups as desired, really. Myself and Matt are here to support and facilitate today, but we will leave you to it and just allow the community to network organically.
Brilliant. And Lisa, do I have your email address?
I can pop it in the chat. Yeah, no worries.
Thank you.
I'll pop it in. And here we go.
But also, honestly, this has been absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're most welcome. Yeah,
yes,
anytime.
Thank you very much.
Equally,
I think leave now because I'm being dragged into something else.
No problem. Yeah, and if there's any other key topics that you think might be helpful, we're happy to put on additional webinars and embed them within the networking sessions. Yes,
so my ambition is to, because we're a university hospital and we don't feel it, is just to sort of get the links more tangible and to give people tools in the toolbox to feel academically fit and have a profile. But thank you so much.
Perfect. Glad to hear it. Take care. See you soon. Thank you. Aisha, come on in.
Press the mic button. Hi again. I was just wondering, in terms of the good clinical practice, would you add that also to your ORCID profile, or is it something not really necessary?
Yes. So it is significant, isn't it? And there is a gap for training that isn't education. So I think you've got to kind of make a decision. Would you constitute it as education, and would you have a dedicated entry, or do you want that to look more like key kind of academic education elements and perhaps weave it into your background biography? Or the other alternative is that you could create an education entry which talks about CPD, and then within the descriptive section of that, you could list some of the key CPD opportunities. Depends what you want your profile to look like, really. I can see the benefits for having it in the education section as a standalone entry. And then I suppose it just depends. Once you get to a sort of mid-career stage, you might find that it's looking very big and it could potentially take over the profile. So you may want to then just consolidate it into a CPD entry at that point.
Because does GCP have like a certain deadline in terms of how long it's valid for?
Oh, yes, you'll find that it varies per organisation.
Right.
I think the NIHR encourage us to update every couple of years.
Okay.
It will depend on your funder, it will depend on your organisation, but you wouldn't want to leave it too long because the field of research rapidly changes, and so there's always something new to learn. Yeah, Matt agrees. 2 years is standard. Yeah. And everybody is aware that that is a freely accessible course using any academic or NHS email address to sign in as a NIHR eLearn member. Hopefully that message got communicated.
Also, in terms of what Roshan asked, if the webinar can be done again, I'm happy to volunteer to help out with stuff like that if you need.
You're very kind. Thanks, Aisha. We won't make you delete your account. Great. Any further questions about ORCID? Okay, great. Send us some feedback if you have any feedback to share. If you'd like anything to be done differently, we're very open to that. So do let us know. So I'm going to stop the recording now. And there we go.